Treylon Burks decides to forego his senior season as well as the bowl game. Some new awards for Razorback football players and Razorback basketball upcoming this weekend against Oklahoma. It's all coming up on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I am your host, John Neighbors. I am also the host of Out of Bounds. You can catch every weekday afternoon from 1 to 4 on 103.7 The Buzz and 103.7thebuzz.com. On Location is the official hospitality partner of the NFL. It is the only place to score a once-in-a-lifetime Super Bowl ticket and experience package. Visit onlocationexp.com/SB56 for more information, or just search Super Bowl On Location. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Thursday as we are getting closer to the end of the year, getting closer to the holiday season, and of course, getting closer to the Razorback bowl game in Tampa. Keep wanting to say it's just like it's in Orlando, but like, I don't know why. Tampa. I'd rather be in Tampa. Forget Orlando. But it's in Tampa and against Penn State. And, we'll continue to have some interesting thoughts and opinions leading up into that point. But the big news that hit yesterday was something that I wouldn't call a surprise, even though some people acted like it was a surprise. And that's Treylon Burks deciding to opt out of the bowl game and forego his senior year. He officially announced it via social media. And I am just going to read his statement verbatim, so that way you get all the context in case you haven't seen it or read it or anything. Because I think that it's important to make sure that everyone understands exactly what this decision was about. But he starts off by just posting a picture of him as in his Razorback uniform, and he says, quote, "I have had many restless nights praying and talking with my family regarding this decision. With that being said, I have decided to opt out of the bowl game and forego my senior season and declare for the NFL draft. Other than representing my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, there have been no greater honor in my life than representing Warren and the entire state of Arkansas for the past 3 years. I want to thank my grandparents and family for their guidance, Arkansas coaching staff for pouring themselves into me, and Shelby for always being there for me. To my teammates, my brothers, you have always been there for me, and your undying support means the world to me. Without y'all, none of this would be possible. Last but not least, to the amazing fans of this great state, I know no matter where I go in this world, you will always be in my heart, and I hope I will always be in yours. I may be leaving the state, but Arkansas will always be home, and I will never stop calling those Hogs. God bless, and go Hogs, Treylon Burks." Great statement by him. One that if you're a Razorback fan and you read that and, it just kind of, makes you feel good. It doesn't like just kind of going out and just saying, okay, thanks, peace, I'm out. Like, you could tell that Treylon is a guy that if you watched him play, if you've seen his press conferences, and if you know kind of his backstory, he's just a good guy. Like, he doesn't want to be in the center of attention or in the limelight. He's a guy that just didn't go, like, growing up, everyone was talking about he could have been a 5-star if he just, would have gone to all these camps and stuff, but he didn't want to do that. He just wanted to go hunting. He wanted to go fishing. He wanted to have a life outside of football. And the fact that he comes into Arkansas and knowing, because that was another thing too, people talked about, like, oh, well, if that's the case, then how focused is he going to be on football? How good is he going to be? Well, I think, as Darren McFadden says, the numbers speak for themselves. I think his play spoke for itself in his 3 years at Arkansas. And the fact that he didn't go to all these camps growing up in high school and all that stuff, but was still able to do what he did and be the player that he was just incredible. And I said this yesterday on Twitter, and I think a lot of people agreed with me about Treylon Burks, in that I'm not saying that he is going to be, remembered the same way that like a Darren McFadden gets remembered at Arkansas. I don't even want to, go out and say that he is that caliber of player when it comes to the awards and everything that came along with it, because he didn't. But I will say that Treylon Burks was the greatest talent that Razorback football had since Darren McFadden. He was a guy that no matter, like, McFadden, what made McFadden great was that he, no matter who he was going up against, whenever he stepped out on the field, he was the best player and the best athlete on the field, no matter who they faced. No matter what defense he went up against, no matter what offense was playing, it doesn't matter. He was the best player on the field when he stepped onto the field. And Treylon Burks, I felt the same way. Now, of course, people would argue when Arkansas played Bama or Arkansas played LSU and all of that. Like I understand that. Like I'm just saying this is my opinion. I always felt like that no matter what, when Treylon Burks stepped out on that field, there was not a single defensive player that could check him, that could slow him down, that could even have a chance at being able to stop him. Like there was not a player that could do that. And that's when you know you have something special. That's when you know you have a player that's a next level talent. When you have someone that is that good to where no matter who they trot out there to try to go up and check him, he wins every single time. And that was Treylon Burks. He had the entire package of being a bigger, faster, stronger than everybody else. He ran good routes. And the stuff that, there's obviously those things are important as a wide receiver, but the stuff that doesn't get talked about enough is the stuff that most people don't think about when it comes to wide receiver. The leadership, the blocking downfield. I mean, look at some of those highlights and some of the blocking that he was able to do downfield, just being a threat. The way he was able to run the ball, he pitched the ball, he threw the ball. Like he did it all. And that's kind of what McFadden was like, if you remember, of course, with the Wildcat formation and, the way he was able to throw it and option it and pitch it and all those things. Like he had that type of game. And it's exactly like what Treylon Burks has as well. And the fact that he played hurt for the majority of this season and was able to do what he did just adds to his icon status. Like that to me is just something that you cannot be touched. And so I just have nothing but thanks, for Treylon Burks and being able to watch him as a Razorback and what he did for the Arkansas football program and the state of Arkansas. And just thinking like his first year, for his second year of Chad Morris, he doesn't get a touchdown pass, which is just, well, we won't go into that. It's Chad Morris, but he got no touchdown passes, but he went through that. He goes through a firing. He went through like 5 quarterbacks that year. The next year, Sam Pittman comes in. It's a COVID year. It's wild. Nobody really knows what's going on. It's crazy. How good Sam Pittman going to be? And then he has Felipe Franks come in and is able to throw him passes and do really well. So he has a new quarterback that ended up being all right. And then the next year, which is this year, of course, was the best year. And he had a new quarterback and KJ Jefferson throwing him the ball as well. So he just went on quite a crazy journey and one that should not be ever underappreciated. So I'm sad, though. I'm sad to see him go, but I'm happy that it happened. I think that's how the old phrase goes or something like that. But just congratulations to Treylon. Like, he deserves it, man. And I wish him nothing but the best of luck. I know all of you Razorback fans also do the same. It'll be fun to see him play on Sundays in the NFL because the dude's a bona fide NFL draft pick, like first round. If he doesn't go first round, then something's wrong or like, he's hurt or something like that. But when it comes to just the talent and talent alone, Treylon Burks has it all. And we'll talk about some of the reasons why Treylon Burks leaving is a good thing and not a bad thing, as some of you may feel like. We'll talk about that in a second. But right now, let's talk about kicking up things a few notches, all right, for the big game, the grand stage, right? The Super Bowl. Super Bowl 56 at SoFi is less than 100 days away, and On Location, the official hospitality partner of the NFL, is the only place to score a once-in-a-lifetime Super Bowl ticket and experience package to the big game. Select your exact seats and choose from elite experiences, including an exclusive pregame celebration with college stars turned NFL legends. Guys like Troy Aikman, Marcus Allen, Tim Brown. Ever heard of them? I'm sure you have. Plus accommodations at 5-star LA hotels and food by the great Wolfgang Puck. Now, that would be the thing I'd be most excited about. Visit onlocationexp.com/SB56 for more information or search Super Bowl On Location. That's locationexp.com/SB56 or search Super Bowl On Location. This is it, folks. It's the putt to win the tournament. If you sink it, the championship is yours. But on your backswing, your hat falls over your eyes. That's pretty embarrassing. Is that how you're running your business, though? Poor visibility because you're relying on spreadsheets and outdated financing software, and you just don't see the full picture. You need to upgrade to NetSuite by Oracle. It's the #1 cloud financial system to power your growth with visibility and control of your finances, inventory, HR, planning, budgeting, and more. NetSuite is everything you need to grow all in one place. 93% of surveyed businesses increase their visibility and control after upgrading to NetSuite. Over 27,000 businesses already use NetSuite, and right now, through the end of the year, NetSuite is offering a one-of-a-kind financing program to those ready to upgrade at netsuite.com/lockedonncaa. Head to netsuite.com/lockedonncaa for special end-of-year financing at the #1 financial system for growing businesses. Again, netsuite.com/lockedonncaa. Okay, so we talked about Treylon Burks and what was his decision. And obviously, it was a decision that most people are on board with and understand, wishing the best of luck, being so happy for him and all that. But there are quite, I wouldn't say a bunch. I'm not trying to make it sound like it's, a 50-50 deal. I would say that there are, though, a good amount of people that took this news horribly and reacted in a horrible manner. And normally, when it comes to certain opinions, I don't like trashing people for it because I have always believed, whether it's the sports realm or the political realm or whatever, everyone's got their opinions. Everyone's different. And I think talking about these opinions is what helps us grow and unite and be more educated and more informed. Like I feel that way about everything. So I'm never really going to trash people for opinions because, hey, that's just what they are, opinions. But this one I will. Like, I won't do it normally, but I'm going to do it for this one. Like, I had on my radio show yesterday, and it set me off. And it takes a lot to set me off on my radio show or just in general. But we had a guy call in, and there were others, too, that were messaging into or tweeting at me. And so I just don't want to call it this guy. But there was a lot more, and people were kind of echoing his sentiments about Treylon Burks. I won't go into exactly what he said, but essentially he's saying he's quitting on the team. He's a loser. He's pathetic. Good riddance. You're not a real Razorback. Like, all of this stuff. And I was floored that people in 2021, in the year of our Lord, still have this opinion about an all-time great player like Treylon Burks deciding to leave at the end of the season and opt out of a bowl game that doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. I mean, it matters for Razorback fans a little bit, but it's not like the college football playoff or even like the New Year's Six Bowl. Like, Burks has been a guy who's played hurt. He has a chance to go to the NFL, has a chance to get a first-round pick, has a chance to make a lot of money. And it's understandable that someone in his position doesn't want to risk losing that over playing in a bowl game that won't amount to anything or won't, increase the season. And, it's like a playoff. It's not a tournament. It's almost like a prize. Like, that's how I look at bowl games for the most part. Not obviously the college football playoff, but a bowl game is a prize and a celebration of your season. It's kind of what it is. It's a consolation game. It's like an exhibition game, but to the front instead of in the beginning, where they're interesting. They can be fun. They can be electric. They can be a great game and whatnot. But like, no one's going to look back on a bowl game and say whether or not a team was good or not good if they won or they lost. Like, it's just kind of a celebration of your season. It's an award. And so looking at it from that perspective, it's understandable why Treylon Burks would not want to come back and risk injury, because if he gets injured in this game or, something like that happens, it could change everything. It could change his career forever. And people are talking about the small examples of people that have had that happen and how it's such a rarity. Okay, it may be a rarity to you, but at the same time, it's a realistic feeling for these players where this is their life. Like, this is their life. And if you told me that, if I was me or you or whoever, if you're doing physical activity and like that's your job and you're constantly getting hit and you're constantly battling through injury all the time, that it's like, okay, you're about to make a ton of money doing this thing that you love. But you got to be in your best shape, that you're going to make millions doing this. But you got this game that doesn't really matter, that you could risk your injury. And if you get injured in that millions of dollars, it's not going to be there anymore. Like, I'm not going to risk this quote meaningless event to risk making millions of dollars doing what I love doing and playing the game that I love playing. None of us would want to do that. And so Treylon Burks doing it this way and wanting to handle it this way is the right move. He's not quitting on the team. Do you know what he's given to the University of Arkansas? Do you know what he's given to the athletic department? You know what he's given to this state? He's given it his all. Game in, game out. He always played hurt. He always went 110% all the time. He always went hardcore in practices. Like that is what a great player does. And that's what somebody who's given you his all does as well. So the idea that he's quitting is embarrassing for any of you that have that opinion. That's embarrassing. Like that is such an awful take for, because I would be the same way, and I would hope you would too. If it was your job, if you knew that it was your career, your life, and you knew that you had an opportunity like this, I hope all of us would do the same. Hope all of us would do the same. So I get you get so wrapped up sometimes in being a Razorback fan, and I'm guilty of this too, where you just want the best for Arkansas. You want the best for the Razorbacks. And yes, the best thing for the Razorback football team in this bowl game would have Treylon Burks in the game, of course. But sometimes you got to look at it from the perspective of that individual and of that kid. Now, if teammates and coaches started kind of coming out and like not really being, we don't like that decision. We kind of feel like you let us on a little bit. Like that's a different animal. But if the coaches are going to come out and be supportive of this, which they will be, and they have been, and players are as well, that's good enough for me. Those players and those coaches know Traelin a lot more than me and a lot more than you. And so you just have to be supportive of that. But I get it. You're hurt by it. You are. You don't want that. But me, I want what's best for Traelin. I want what's best for all these Razorback players and all these coaches. I want what's best for them. It's like I want the best for you and whatever you do. Maybe some of you don't feel the same way about me. Maybe you don't want the best for me. Maybe you wish that I would stop like talking to you in this camera or into this microphone. Like maybe that's what you want. But just don't have these terrible takes. Don't say he's quitting on the team. Like that's awful. And he deserves better than that. So I was trying to be a lot more calm today than I was yesterday, but I got better sleep last night. So I think that probably went into it as well. So, but just wish him nothing but the best. And then you move on and you just enjoy the ride that he has had here at Arkansas, and wish him nothing but the best of luck. That's the most important thing. At least to me, that's the most important thing. So, have you ever thought about how your favorite restaurant consistently makes such delicious food? The short answer is they have access to the right kitchen tools. Makes a difference. With Made In's professional quality cookware, kitchenware, anyone is capable of making restaurant quality food at home. Made In produces professional quality cookware for those that love to cook. I love to cook. I've used this stuff. It's incredible. Makes a difference. You don't think about it, but it does make a huge difference. They source all the finest materials and partner with renowned craftsmen to make premium kitchen tools and available directly to you without the markup. They're made to last, and they offer a lifetime guarantee, and the cookware distributes heat evenly so it can go easily from the stovetop into the oven. Made better. It's better cookware for better meals. It's as simple as that. And right now, Made In is offering all of you 15% off your first order with promo code Locked On. This is the best discount available anywhere in the Made In market and products. So go to madeincookware.com/locked on and use promo code Locked On for 15% off your next order. That's madeincookware.com/locked on. Use promo code Locked On. We're also brought to you by betonline.ag. They have you covered all season long for more props, odds, lines than ever before as football season continues to march through the postseason and playoffs. BetOnline remains to be your number one spot for all sports action this season. So head to the new updated desktop or mobile website today and sign up and receive 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit using promo code Locked On to receive your bonus. From basketball, football, NHL, boxing, UFC, right down to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. So betonline.ag, where the game starts. All right, Razorback basketball news is going to be happening this weekend against Oklahoma, and we'll probably talk more about that tomorrow in the podcast leading into it. because there was just much football news. I wanted to make sure that we got all to that today. And like I said, there'll be plenty of time to talk to that about that tomorrow, which we will. And we'll have a guest on to talk more about it. But I want to give another shout out when it comes to Razorback football, that a trio of Razorback football players that were named AP All SEC. And of course, Treylon Burks is first team. Let's be honest, we all know that he's going to be first team. If he wasn't a first team on anyone's ballot, then they need their ballot taken away. Like, that's obvious. But he got first team All SEC from the Associated Press, and Arkansas had 2 second teamers with Bumper Poole, not surprising there, and Ricky Stromberg, also not surprising there. He was a really good player. So congratulations to them. But I just find it so funny sometimes of how this happens, which, again, it doesn't matter because I know you're dealing with coaches, which coaches it actually probably means they're SIDs. And then you have the media voting, and most of the time it's pretty spot on. Like, sometimes it's just so evident. Like I was talking about with Treylon Burks. Like, yeah, you kind of know that he is the guy, and you know that he is going to be a first teamer. Like, you just know that. So it's like obvious. But the other thing is like, I see Burks, obvious. Bryce Young, obvious. Matt Corral, obvious. Like, all these other players are obvious. But Monteric Brown in the coaches poll, and the coaches All SEC selection, was a first teamer. Monteric Brown was first team All SEC. And then the AP, he's not even on the list. Like, I can understand if guys on the second team and they get left off, but if he's on the first team in the coaches selection, and he's on not even listed on the AP selection, I'm like, so where did the cross get here? Like, what did the coaches and everybody see so much more from a guy like Monteric Brown, where the AP didn't even think to mention it? Like, I've always found that so fascinating how that happens. So, I'm sure Monteric Brown's going to be like, no, I'm All SEC, because the coaches obviously are the ones that get it right more often than not. And I'm sure Ricky Stromberg is going to be looking at it and be like, well, I'm an AP All SEC guy. And AP, that's the media. They watch it. They get it right all the time. Like, they know what they're doing. So, I think that's kind of just funny how that happens. But I don't know. I just don't understand how that happens. I think Monteric Brown is definitely one of the best cornerbacks in the SEC. And, man, would it be huge if he could come back next year. I'm not saying he will. He does have an opportunity to. But if you could get him, this is how I look at it, because I think we're talking about this with Andrew Hutchinson, but this is how kind of I look at it. If you can get, on defense especially, at least one key player from each unit defensively to come back, you'll be fine. Like, if you can get Monteric Brown to come back, also Jalen Catalon will be important to get back, which I think he'll come back. I think he will. It's just my hunch. I have no proof, but it's my hunch. If you can get at least Catalon back, but also if you can get Buster Brown, Monteric Brown back, if you can get Bumper Poole back, and you can get one of those defensive linemen back, whether it's John Ridgeway or Trey Williams or whatnot, just one of those guys from each unit back, your defense is going to be great. You're going to be fine. But if you lose Monteric Brown and Jalen Catalon, if you lose all 3 of your linebackers, which you're already going to lose 2 for sure, but if you lose Bumper, including Grant Morgan and Hayden Henry, and then you lose your entire defensive line, Markel Utsey, Trey Williams, and John Ridgeway, like, you're literally having to replace 9 starters on defense. Not ideal. Not ideal. So hopefully Sam Pittman's able to recruit some of these guys and get them to come to Arkansas, because I know that they're already hitting that transfer portal, and there's a really good defensive lineman that's going to be coming to Arkansas. At least the crystal ball selections from 24/7 Sports are saying that. So we'll talk about that when it actually happens. But still, it's just cool to be able to have this type of setup with the COVID year to be able to get some of these guys back if they're able to come back, or if they want to come back, which I don't understand why, or think why Sam Pittman would not want any of these guys back, because Arkansas always is going to need all the help they can get. And you saw the difference it made with veterans and leadership and experience this year, especially defensively. And so that's going to be a huge difference going forward. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But either way, appreciate everybody listening into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or on Google Play. You can also get after me on Twitter at BuzzJohnNeighbors for any questions, comments, concerns that you may have. We'll keep it going from there. Same podcast time, same podcast channel tomorrow afternoon. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you then.